Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Prediction Strike UFC Fight Night 254, I think. Fight night between Marvin Vettori and Roman Dolidze. We had a pretty exciting card last week that ended in a decision victory from Magomed Ankalaev. My GOAT, Poetan, is kind of on a rough one right now, but nonetheless, we move on. Let's get into this first fight.
All right, how do we set this up? I'm back. I know, somehow. Yeah, I had to sell a leg to pay off the last one. But we're here. On to the first fight. Yunezi Duben versus Carly Judas. I don't know. For whatever reason, they don't look like they're in the same weight class, but it says they're the same
They
weight.
definitely don't in this picture. I mean, it's because I match up the heights exactly like each other, but Yunesi is 3 inches shorter, so she just looks way bigger. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. First of 3 women's fights on this card. Slowing things down a bit here. Sit back, relax, enjoy some decisions. Probably, knock on wood, maybe not. Who knows? But Yunezi is definitely an aggressive fighter. She comes forward at you pretty much the whole fight, from what I can tell. Very aggressive. Had a really nasty knockout on Contender Series to punch her ticket to the UFC. Not insanely technical or talented skill-wise, but insanely tough, very aggressive, powerful, not a quitter by any means. Going up against Carly Judas, who's a striker for the most part, pretty high volume, decent combos, mixes and kicks, sets a good pace on the feet, comes forward at you as well. Can definitely be taken down, but is slippery when it goes to the ground. She's good in scrambles, has a good get-up game. Coming off her second split decision loss in a row to Gabriela Hernandez, and she just wore damage pretty bad in that one. Her face was kind of cut up. What are the odds on this fight looking like?
I think it's just a slight favorite for Duben. Not too crazy. Minus 155.
Duben is the slight favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that is definitely a thing. If Duben is able to kind of put together the striking, Carly takes damage pretty quickly, or puts on damage quickly, which isn't good from a judging perspective, but she is better technique-wise for sure. If I knew more about Yunezi's cardio, I'd probably be on her side of things, but she's finished all 6 of her opponents, so I mean, there is a very high probability that she gasses, or at least slows down by a good bit if she doesn't, take over early. So I'm going to go with Carly Judas by decision here. I honestly do think a Duben knockout is pretty live.
I'm seeing Judas as a minus 500 favorite. Is that wrong?
That sounds more right.
I'm seeing on ESPN Plus. Maybe that's what's wrong here, but I'll check another book and see.
Yeah. Would be curious, because I would have expected Carly to be at least a 2-1 favorite.
Yeah. I mean, 5 feels a little crazy, but either way, you're going to get the favorite by however margin. It could be 500, it could be 300, whatever, but you're getting them at underdog prices here. So that feels like probably the correct lean.
Yeah. DK has it at minus 380 Judas. Okay, so Carly Judas is definitely the favorite here. I'm going to go with the big favorite. I do think there's probably going to be some action on Duben here. Probably not on Prediction Strike because Carly Judas is such a good buy, but elsewhere, I think she's live for a knockout probably. So she's big, she's powerful.
Yeah. If you like Judas, though, this is the spot. So.
Yeah, go for her on Prediction Strike. And that's my official pick. I'm pretty sure it's Grant's official pick too. So solid.
I'm just going to go with Judas by decision. I don't really have an opinion on this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. You never really know with these prospects coming off Contender Series right out of the gate.
I'm curious how exactly it gave me that as the odds, though, for ESPN.
Yeah. The ESPN one just it's not the most reliable thing.
I guess not. She usually gets every other one right. All right. Evan Elder versus Markel Medeiros. What should we know about this fight?
Yeah, this is this fight literally just got added to this card. Evan Elder, been in the UFC for a little bit here. He is coming off a submission win over Darius Flowers, going up against Markel Medeiros. He is kind of more of a striker of the two. I'd say Evan Elder is a little bit more well-rounded, kind of a brawler. I haven't looked into this fight too much because I literally just added it before I made it. But I'm gonna go. What are the odds on this one, Grant?
Elder's like -150.
I'm gonna go with Evan Elder by decision here. I think I might make a video about this fight afterwards because I really haven't looked into it too much, though, to be honest.
Sounds good. We'll leave it at that.
They must just be updating these odds or whatever on Hard Rock because I'm trying to see, and that is not the odds it is giving on ESPN once again.
On DK, I'm seeing -155 for Elder too.
Interesting. All right.
Maybe you get involved on whatever platform you're seeing those and just take the.
Well, I doubt they're accurate. It could just be bad internet or whatever, for all I know. But it's locked on Hard Rock as well. Nothing's available. Just kind of fascinating. All right, on to the next one then. Sounds like no food for thought here.
Yeah.
All right, Josiane Nunes versus Priscilla. I'm not going to even try.
Cachoeira.
Yeah, so which one wins the decision?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this one, like, Josiane could probably get a finish here, but it's going to be a decision. It's definitely going to be a decision, probably.
What kind of finish?
I don't know. Maybe a knockout on Josiane's side of things.
5-2. Having that knockout power.
She's a little meatball, dude. But anyways, yeah, Nunes, super powerful striker. Okay grappling, but she's very active on the ground, busy everywhere. You'll see that she has a slightly negative striking differential, but she has high volume at 5.41 strikes landed per minute. You'll see also that she has decent reach for her size, which helps her with that what would otherwise be a pretty consistent range disadvantage. Can definitely be wild and sloppy at times, not the most technical, but she is coming off a split decision loss to Jacqueline Cavalcanti, who is super technical. And I honestly thought she looked really good in that one. The forward pressure was there. There were definitely pundits who thought that she might have won that one. So, I mean, it was a good fight overall against a really good young prospect in Jacqueline Cavalcanti. And Priscilla Cachoeira, powerful striker as well. Very similar to Josiane Nunes in that she's always applying forward pressure, power in her hands, slightly lower volume. Also eats a lot more shots than Nunes. You'll see she has a negative striking differential that's pretty bad of 3.76 to 7. So she's obviously more of the time than not the less skilled fighter, but she's very physical, can definitely eat shots, is very tough. And she's coming off a submission loss to Jasmine Jasudavicius, where she just looked like she didn't know what she was doing on the ground, really. And these two girls fight pretty much the exact same way. I'm going to go with Nunes. She's a bit tougher, stronger, just better overall, I think. So, yeah, I'm going Nunes.
Yeah, Nunes by decision would be my play as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nunes by, let's have fun. Let's go with a knockout. They'll stand and bang.
Cool.
We'll see. All right. Daniel Barres versus Andre Lima. What should we be expecting here?
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm pretty sure we called, or at least two of the three of us called the Daniel Barres upset over Altamirano in that last one he did, but he's kind of like a little Topuria style guy. He's from Spain, going up against Andre Lima, who's a solid striker, very technical, does a good job of investing in the body early, also throws in combos, definitely has a diverse bag of striking attacks. Solid takedowns, but he's pretty much just a true striker. He has good takedown defense to back that up too. On the ground, slippery, very good get-up game, decent in scrambles. His path to victory isn't on the ground though. And he is coming off a decision win over Felipe dos Santos, where he looked pretty good. He was moving forward at first, kind of started getting moved on a bit, didn't like that, so he started shooting takedowns. Daniel Barres is a good boxer, fast pace, really good BJJ too to back that up, powerful for his size, good takedowns if he absolutely needs them. That's definitely not his path to victory, though. He usually trusts his striking, also trusts his BJJ, and will chase submissions if he gets into a position on the ground. Sometimes to his own fault, he will chase, but sometimes works out for him. Not the best takedown defense, but he is decent from the bottom because of that jiu-jitsu. He looked pretty good in that win that I mentioned over Altamirano. I think this is going to be a pretty good fight. If Barres can come forward and maintain pace without fading it all here, I think he can probably take a decision against Lima. I think I'm going to go with Lima here, though, still. But I don't think it's the right buy on PredictionStrike, really, at these prices. I kind of wish they were a bit closer. I also think what are the odds in the books?
355 favorite for Lima.
Yeah, I'm also not touching that in the book. So I'm going Lima. Don't like the prices or the odds.
Yeah, I'm in on Lima as well. I think he's excelled at getting to decisions in the UFC so far in his career, and this feels like a situation where he can do that as well. Slightly taller, slightly more reach, technical striker like you touched on, and I think he can just kind of avoid danger enough and keep his distance in this one where he should be able to just stand at a distance, get his strikes in when he can, and get a decision in this fight. So that would be my pick.
Yeah, I think Lima by decision as well. I don't really see anything that I like Barres in the last one, but
yeah, I am kind of like generally a Barres fan, but
I just don't really see the theoretical path to victory. Like the last guy he was going against, there was a lot of questions in the resume. You can say it's like, oh, he won a bench against a bunch of trash cans, but well, that's typically what a lot of these guys do. All right. Carlos Vera versus Josias Musasa. Probably said that wrong, but yeah, he looks like he's ready to kill someone. I'm not going to lie.
He does look intimidating.
Yeah. Do the fights indicate my thoughts? Yes, they do. At least, am I wrong on the odds here? Minus 850 for Musasa, or what do we look at?
I'm seeing 650, but same difference.
Okay.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Huge
this is a debut, right?
Wait. Holy crud balls, dude.
11-year age gap. So it looks like they're setting this guy up.
My pick is Carlos Vera, bro. Why are these odds so crazy?
This is a debut fight for Musasa, right?
After
the Contender Series.
Yeah.
So it feels like anyone making their first fight after something like that should never be a minus 700 favorite, just because there's so much variables and things that can go wrong in a first fight, just nerves or what be it. It does feel like there is some promise to Musasa's game. In past competitions and things, he's been a KO warrior. Barely did win his Contender Series fight, though. Came out of there with a split decision. So yeah, I don't fully understand the minus 700 price right now. So if you're seeing this price is still what you're seeing, maybe you touch on the Vera side a little bit of things. But if I was just straight up picking a winner, I think I would trust the prospect in Musasa. But given the value here and the prices we're seeing here and elsewhere, I feel like Vera's worth a stab, no doubt.
Yeah. Josias, very powerful, fast guy, mainly a striker, always looking for the finish, but he does have pretty good striking defense as well. Doesn't wrestle too much. If he does get to the ground, he's pretty much just looking to ground and pound you until you die. Very powerful, especially for this weight class. Definitely headhunts at times, but he is a very good, fast, creative striker coming off a Contender Series win. And he also has a 5-inch reach advantage here, which should aid him in the striking department. Yeah, he's super athletic. Vera is also very athletic, though. And he's a good striker as well, loose on his feet, good kicks, moves in and out nicely. Takedowns are not the best, but he is very, very good BJJ and likes to fight off of his back. Everyone from that Ryan Hall fight camp does like to fight off their back. They kind of play those guard games, but on the feet, creative striker, will wing punches, has some surprising power, both on the feet and on the ground. And I think this is a more fun matchup, like Grant was saying, than the odds suggest here. I think Carlos Vera is probably the better all-around fighter of the two. He's athletic, just like Mousasa is. Grappling is definitely the better of the two, but he's just small. His chin has gotten checked, and that's probably why such a killer in Josias Mousasa is such a huge favorite here. We've only ever seen Mousasa go to decision once. If he gasses here, like we haven't seen a huge sample size of Mousasa fights. He might just let Vera roll around, and they might play ground games. So Vera is super tough. As long as he doesn't get chinned, I think he has a real shot at winning here. He has great cardio. He can make something happen. Tanzalov hit harder, did more damage, and had more takedowns in that Contender Series fight against Mousasa. So I'm going with Vera by sub.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple and follow the odds with Mousasa by knockout here. I think 11-year age gap, you have a guy that, he got outstruck or whatever, but he also defended 12 of the 16 takedown attempts. And if the path to victory is on the ground, just sounds like his head's going to be bobbing off of the bottom of the floor.
Vera doesn't get takedowns, though. He gets taken down and then subs.
I will say that
We'll see.
we are saying that there's a huge experience gap and stuff, and obviously with the age and just fights across the board there is, but Vera's only fought once in the UFC as well. And it does appear that he was bullied pretty well by Rinya Nakamura. So not like a huge sample size in the UFC for either of these guys, but just don't think Mousasa should be a 700 favorite.
Yeah, that's insane.
All right, on to the next one. DR, Brenson Ribeiro. What should we be expecting for this fight here? Because I don't see any odds on anything I'm looking at, so I don't know if it was
seeing minus 70 for the DR side of things.
Yeah. Right. So we got DR Nurgazai, Dana White Contender Series alum, very well-rounded guy, good resume, especially for someone who hasn't fought in the UFC before. He has fought some good opponents, big hands, good wrestling. Definitely more of a wrestler than a striker, but definitely has a bag of tricks on the feet. Can find a finish both standing and on the ground, can finish you early, has 15 minutes of cardio. He's gone to decisions. I think he's going to be a really, really good fighter in this division going up against Brenson Ribeiro, who is a good striker, solid grappling, but he has a negative striking differential, very hittable. Takedowns are mediocre, but he definitely hunts for submissions on the ground, super aggressive when it gets down there. Pretty decent both off the top and on the back. Well-rounded on offense, definitely can be touched up, can't get finished, slows down, is a little bit of a quitter, some people say, but he's coming off his first UFC win over Caio Machado. DR is super good, in my opinion. I think he's better probably everywhere here besides maybe pure jiu-jitsu. He has the cardio advantage between the two. So I'm gonna buy into DR for this one.
Agreed.
I don't see anything that's particularly great outside of likely just more experience, in theory, for Ribeiro. And just gonna go with Dyer by decision. Think it'll last a bit longer than people are expecting. All right, Stephanie Luciano versus Sam Hughes. All right, who's winning by decision?
So this probably will be a decision, like Wells kind of pointed to. Sam Hughes is definitely a bullying sort of fighter, applies pressure, comes forward, negative striking differential, but she can eat shots for sure. But she is hittable. She definitely can wrestle, not dangerous at all. Has great cardio, definitely uses that to her advantage very well, exposes holes in her opponent's cardio, is definitely okay with eating some shots to do so, coming off a decision win over Dudakova, where the win is pretty much exactly it went exactly how she fights. The cardio was there, the pressure was there, the forward movement was there. Luciano is a striker mainly, but she does like to work on the cage. She will try to get you to the cage, where she will rack up control time and then will also drag you to the ground and get control time there on top. Not dangerous either. Bunch of cardio too, so that's going to be playing to her advantage against Sam Hughes, who normally exposes that in other fighters. And she's coming off a win over Toledo Alencar, where she looked pretty good in that one. And Sam Hughes is a pretty decently sized dog here, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, plus 195.
Yeah. I think that probably makes sense, and I think we're getting a great price on Stephanie Luciano on PredictionStrike. She's the better striker, better wrestling. I don't think Sam Hughes is going to be able to use her cardio to exploit Stephanie like she has with other fighters in the past. So I think Stephanie Luciano by decision is all but the lock in this one.
I'm going to rock with Hughes. I think on PS you kind of have to go with Luciano. The value's there, but my pick, just taking money lines here, is going to be Sam Hughes. Just trusting the experience and some of the chin and durability here, and yeah, just taking the vet.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be boring. I just have a hard time ever seeing the UFC not trying to just give it to the younger of the two to be like, maybe there'll be something. So Stephanie Luciano by decision. All right. Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Ryan Spann. All right, so we got Superman on the chest, and yeah, how should this go?
Yeah, this is gonna. I feel like this probably ends early.
Waldo, is this weight legit? It looks like it is based on looking at their build.
I think Ryan Spann's gonna be. I think it's gonna be closer. I would imagine.
But is Waldo gonna be 260?
I think the fight is at heavyweight, so.
Oh, so Spann just putting on a lot for this one?
I think so, yeah.
Let me check out his current build. Go on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually curious to see what he's looking like, because I didn't do any due diligence on the IG page or anything with Ryan Spann. But Waldo, super fun striker, flashy guy. It's kind of what he's known for. Very powerful, high volume as well, especially for this weight class, landing 5.64 strikes a minute to 3.6 absorbed. Can also wrestle. Won't really wrestle unless he gets forced out of the striking department. Going up against Ryan Spann, who's another dangerous guy, 19 stoppages in his career. Wrestles, I'd say, more often than Waldo Cortez Acosta does. He averages 1.32 takedowns a fight, has a bunch of subs, good amount of knockouts as well. Dangerous guy all around, good cardio, coming off a solid comeback victory over OSP, where he choked him out after a poorly shot takedown. And these odds, last time I checked them, were pretty wide, right?
166 for Waldo.
That's not that wide. But yeah, Waldo, I think, wins this one. Ryan,
I think it's also just the comfortability at the division as well.
Yeah.
This feels like is this his first fight at heavyweight? It's got to be, right?
I think so.
Formerly a light heavyweight fighter. Just trust the bigger guy who's naturally bigger versus the guy that's kind of just putting on the weight just to get there. It does feel like a spot when you can potentially find some value, because you might have a guy who has more potential in a different division after they move. So it'll be interesting to see how this debut goes, but just kind of going to trust the system of taking the guy who's more comfortable fighting at that weight consistently, who's done so for his whole career, versus the guy who's fought 20 odd times at a different division and is kind of just forcing this one maybe to get a little different career path or something after things haven't worked out great at light heavyweight. So we shall see, but I'm gonna rock with the Waldo side of things here for sure.
Same. It's also Spann's his, like, that win over OSP, who is also, I think, like 41 years old at this point, was his first win in 3 years. So Waldo's definitely been a more consistent athlete.
Yeah, and if for some reason this is actually the weight gap that you're getting, then you can just put your rent on the first round knockout. Like, it's genuinely that much of, like, I don't know. I think this is a really dumb decision by Ryan's fan, but perhaps I'll look like a fool.
He's a dangerous dude.
Go ahead.
Oh, I said Span is definitely a dangerous dude. Like, I could see him carrying up enough power, but I do think Waldo's got it.
Yeah, Cortez by knockout. All right. Yu Su-young versus AJ Cunningham. AJ Cunningham.
Who's Ian Gary, born from an incestual family?
I'll say this is not a good look.
This is Ian Gary after getting his face punched in.
Yeah. Could easily rock my shit, but yeah, not the most ideal looking individual. Could have been from Mice and Men. Yeah, walk us through this fight though. I'm curious who's the favorite in this, because these lines are
a 625 favorite.
Jesus,
my guy's looking fried in that photo though.
Yeah, I mean, those odds are insane. I feel like those odds are insane on any fight, but I do think Yu is deservedly the favorite here. He's basically a chain wrestler. He's nonstop presser, just shooting takedowns the entire fight. Basically doesn't strike at all. Will throw a couple jabs before going straight at your legs. Basically doesn't let you strike with him at all if he can help it. Sloppy on the feet. Also kind of sloppy in the takedowns, but he's super aggressive. Fights, he's always moving at a super fast pace. Good grappling, always switching positions, constantly looking for a sub while maintaining positions. Coming off a win over Bayergang Zaleski, where he had 2 takedowns. And AJ Cunningham, more of a striker, powerful guy, decent reach at 71 inches for this weight class. Comes forward at you just like Su-young does. Very powerful, not the most technical in the world, but decent kicks, will work in spinning attacks, will also wrestle, is pretty decent offensive takedowns. Takedown defense, though, is unfortunately terrible at 33%, and that's why we can do some pretty easy UFC math with this one. 33% takedown defense plus a chain wrestler equals a win for Su-young Yu.
Yeah, I think the reach difference and the height difference, if the takedown defense was better, would be kind of an issue. But I almost prefer the smaller fighter if you don't have that takedown defense, just because it's easier to get low and grab onto legs and kind of force those takedowns a little bit. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna rock with the chain wrestler in Yu Su-young as well.
Yeah, Yu Su-young, get the submission for me, please. After missing on so many last week.
Well, right. You just slated that one down.
Yeah.
Well's going back to the well.
Going back to the well. We will see. We will see. It's always it's just, the thing that's annoying me right now is, like, I'm looking at ESPN. I'm like, are the numbers I'm looking at real? And then I look up here. It's like, no, this guy's actually 135 pounds. You dumb fuck. So it's like, great.
Bro, yeah, get ESPN off your screen.
Like, I can't even find it though on like DraftKings or whatever. So I'm like, oh well, we're just rocking with this, I guess. All right, Damon Blackshear versus Cody Gibson. If memory serves correctly, Cody Gibson wasn't like the worst fighter.
Definitely not.
Like, neither of these fighters are like bad.
Yeah, this should be a fun one. Looks like, what are the odds on this fight?
You're getting a much better price here than elsewhere. Blackshear is a -455 favorite.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah, Blackshear, super powerful guy, very fast, athletic, mostly a striker. Has takedowns in all but one of his fights, can definitely grapple too. High volume striker at 4.3 strikes landed per minute. Technical, pretty much good everywhere. 4 losses in the UFC, coming off a bounce back win over Cody Stamen, where he dropped him and subsequently submitted him. He has, I don't know if he got a takedown in his last fight. He dropped him and then subbed him. Yeah. And Cody Gibson, veteran, solid striker, long, good takedown defense, a bunch of takedowns in the UFC, but is mostly a striker. Definitely can have success if you wrestle with him and take him to the ground and control him. coming off a win over Chad and Helliger, where Chad was kind of lighting him up on the feet, but the wrestling and grappling kind of saved the day for him. Blackshear has pretty solid takedown defense and should be much, much better than Cody on the feet. But Cody is a really tough guy, and Cody can also wrestle, will wrestle if he needs to. So I kind of do see the fight going that way. I do think ultimately the striking gap is just going to be really apparent in this one. So I'm going to go with Blackshear. I do think it's probably a better fight than the odds suggest, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take a stab at a Blackshear KO in this one, just because I feel like the difference on the ground is not as apparent as the one standing up will be. Gibson has racked up a fair share of wins by submission, so can be dangerous there. And even though Blackshear can grapple and has 10 submissions of his own, I just feel like the gap there is not as apparent. So I'm gonna take a stab at a KO here. And I know Gibson has never been knocked out in his career, but that's gonna have to start at some point. And he's an older guy, so taking a stab at it.
And there is an age gap here.
Cody's pretty old.
Well, what must I do? What must I do? Fall back in the well is what I'll do. I'm on Blackshear by submission.
By some. God damn it.
Cold. Cold.
He's too cold. All right.
Alexander Hernandez versus Kurt Holobaugh. What should we be expecting here?
Pretty good prices if you're on the Hernandez side of things. Yeah, he's good. Well-rounded guy. Definitely explosive, skilled guy, but inconsistent, generally speaking. Good wrestler. Fast, powerful, kind of has trouble putting together the striking and the wrestling all in one fight, though. He's back up at 155, got a win over Austin Hubbard where he looked pretty good. Kurt Holobaugh is the TUF champion, which he just won recently at the ripe age of 37. And he is a striker, applies a ton of pressure, comes forward if he as much as he can if he can help it. Throws in combos, does a good job of moving in and out of the pocket. And he's a busy guy, pretty high volume at 4.63 strikes landed per minute to 4.3 something absorbed. Jiu-jitsu is also good. He has some wrestling on offense. Basically won TUF with his jiu-jitsu, and he is coming off a decision win over fighting nerd Kanan Kraszewski. I think Alexander, if I could trust him to put everything together, and he was a high IQ fighter, just skill for skill is a good matchup for him. Definitely has a wrestling advantage here. Is the younger guy of the two. I don't trust him, though. I'm going to go with the underdog, Kurt Holobaugh, who I think can make the difference here with the pressure in the striking department.
See, I thought I was going to be standing alone on that pick, but I guess I have some company. I, will be on the Holobaugh side of things.
Let's go.
Let's make it chalky. That's three of us now.
God damn it.
We've actually had a good record on chalk like this, though.
That's true, yeah.
That is true. But I have to do it.
No.
Submission.
I mean, I can see it.
All right, let's see if we can. One of these weekends, I'll get a 3-in-a-row decision correctly. So we will see. Seung-Woo, who looks like he's just pissed off to be here, versus Kelvin Vallejos.
Yep.
Are the prices correct here, or what are we looking at?
Prices?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're probably getting a little bit of value on the
Seung-Woo Choi. I said that
He is
wrong.
a minus 530 favorite. Only about $1 separating the two here, so a little bit of value.
Yeah. I think this will be a pretty good fight. Seung-Woo Choi going up against the DWCS alumni Kevin Vallejos, who I think is a really, really good prospect. He was on Contender Series twice, lost to Jean Silva. That obviously aged really, really well, so he got another chance, looked great. And he's a powerful striker, powerful generally, will catch your kicks, can knock you out with one punch, very comfortable on the feet, very fast, very dangerous. Definitely has some holes in his grappling, but you will see on his resume that he has submitted people. And I do think it's something that is improving in his game and is going to be continuously improving as he develops in the UFC. And Seung-Woo Choi, clean striker, will have the reach advantage here, and that's good for him because he likes to fight long. Good leg kicks, also utilizes his length to work in those leg kicks at what can sometimes be a really high volume. Technical guy generally, decent takedowns. Has been struggling recently, losing 4 of his last 5. Most recently, getting knocked out by Steve Garcia, who we know is kind of a nasty striker on a kind of wild knockout streak. Yeah, I mean, I always tend to caution people around these UFC debuts, like Kevin Vallejos, but I do think kind of like I mentioned about DR Nurgaze, I think both of these guys are real deal prospects. I think Kevin should get this one done pretty handily. We've seen Choi get his chin checked before, so I think it could even be a Vallejos knockout here.
Yeah, Vallejos super young, obviously talented striker, good chin as well. Feels like the advantage there, the 5-inch height advantage and the 6-inch reach advantage isn't the most ideal thing in the world when you're probably going to definitely need to outstrike him in this fight. And yeah, super, super young. So just would kind of tread with a little bit of caution, but Vallejos is going to be the pick here. Just looking at the number elsewhere, I don't know if 535 is a super tasty number to boost any of your plays elsewhere. So I'd probably stay away from it there and stick with the prediction strike things if you're gonna rock with it. But yeah, tread lightly.
Minus 535.
Yeah.
Holy hell, dude. What is going on with these odds?
Yeah. Vallejos by knockout. Just don't overthink it. This just looks like they're setting Seung-Woo Choi for murder here. So we will see if he gets murdered.
Poor Seung-Woo.
Chidi and Njoukani versus Aizu Zaleski. Yeah, what should we be expecting here? What are the odds for this one, Grant? Just so we know.
Plus 150 for Chidi, minus 185 for the Zaleski side of things.
Yeah. Eliseo, solid striker, very fast, athletic guy, been around for a while now. Can also be dangerous on the ground, very, very active, no matter if he's on the feet or on the ground. Really good cardio, just an athletic guy. He is kind of on the older side of things, but he's still very fast and athletic at this age. Style-wise, he has got the capoeira style, Brazilian dance fighting. And he is coming off a finish win over Zach Scroggins, who isn't a real UFC fighter. Chidi and Njoukani, good striker as well, also very speedy, does a good job controlling range with his 80-inch reach, lands 4.59 strikes a minute to 2.67 absorbed. So kind of medium tier in terms of volume, really good movement though, moves in and out of the pocket well. But if you get real close to him inside the pocket, you can definitely have some success striking with him, working in knees and elbows. And you can also get into his legs because he kind of fights long. He is coming off a pretty good looking win over Jared Gordon, where he had unusually high striking volume. And that kind of like has offset his stats a little bit because normally he's much lower volume, but was very high volume in his last fight. So definitely something to think about is like, was that a fluke or is this the new Chidi and Njoukani? It's kind of what we're going to find out in this fight if we just have high volume Chidi now, which I think can definitely get it done here against Dos Santos. And Zaleski is so durable too that it is a really tough one to call. God, I'm going to go guys, I don't know. I'm going to go Chidi. I think a good.
Damn it. Same.
God damn it. I'm going to go Chidi. I think it's good price on PredictionStrike. I literally just made that pick on the spot there, though. So you can tell it's really not the highest confidence thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty 50-50, but in a fight that feels like the better striker is going to have an advantage. You get a guy with a huge reach advantage. One of the crazier reach advantages you can probably find in a division at 7 inches there. Also a 4-inch height advantage. Strong, tall, aggressive striker. Maybe should be a little bit concerned with a gas tank issue at some point if the pressure is kept on throughout the entirety of this fight. But I'm gonna trust him, and I'm gonna rock with Chidi as well in this one.
I guess I'm alone in my lonesome for once, so this isn't a good sign. Yeah, we're just going to go Zaleski by decision.
I think this is a good spot for you to be on your own, honestly.
We will see. We will see. On to the next one, Vettori versus Dolidze. This is the title of the card, has a 2 next to it, and I don't think Dolidze is the second. So what should we be expecting here?
Yeah, so this is a rematch. Marvin Vettori is a very good striker, very good grappler with striking in his back pocket as well. Definitely is very comfortable striking, though. Doesn't need to necessarily go to the ground, but he has a bunch of different takedown variations, got good doubles, will just slam you to the ground. He's got body locks, trips. Striking looked pretty good in his most recent fight. Positive striking differential at 4.56 landed, 4.24 absorbed, almost 2 takedowns a fight, about 70% takedown defense. And he's coming back after about 2 years away and a loss in what was a dominant performance by Jared Cannonier, who was fighting out of his body. And Vettori didn't even look that bad in that one. He landed 153 strikes. Cannonier looked insane. And Dolidze is a world champ grappler. We've seen it time and time again. Can also strike. Very comfortable striking, actually, because he has real power on the feet. So it's kind of hard to trust his game plan at times because he has become so comfortable striking despite being a grappler. But we do know at least that he has a diverse skill set, very well-rounded, can submit, can KO. Coming off underdog finish that I believe we also called on this show over Kevin Holland. And won that by TKO when Kevin Holland broke his rib. And Vettori, I think that shoulder injury that kept him gone is kind of still there. Fighting, I'd say, more so out of necessity and to stay relevant and to keep a contract more than anything. And I don't know if I could trust Marvin Vettori to be fully 100% here. Marvin did win the first time, and he did that by being a high-volume striker. It's like if he's still hurt, especially with a shoulder injury, can we trust him to do the same thing? So given the inactivity, the rumor that he's still hurt, I'm going to go with Roman Dolidze.
I can't escape you, Jackson. I am also going to be taking Dolidze in this one. I think he gets the better of Marvin Vettori this time around. Strung together some decent wins in his last 2. Did lose 2 before that, 1 to Marvin Vettori, 1 to Imavov, which has aged relatively well. I think this is his chance to kind of establish himself as a guy that could climb into the top 8 or so of this division. He's kind of been an outsider to that realm as of late, but this feels like as good a shot as any to get in there. I think the constant pressure against a potentially injured guy could be huge. I think he can hang. The takedown defense is great, so he shouldn't be able to just get outpointed in this one. So I'm rocking with the Dolidze side as well. I think he poses more of a threat at their current states.
Yeah, this one's a bit more odd because going to the decision with Anthony Smith, it does not look to be the most impressive thing in the world. Debating. Do I join you?
Yeah.
Or do I go against? That is the question.
Vettori by sub.
No, we're not going with that here because it's just the Kevin Holland knockout's interesting because of like what he's done with his career.
I will say that it was a broken rib TKO for what it's worth. So like didn't technically knock him out, but
okay. Well, then yeah, I'll go with Vettori by decision. I think he'll do just enough. I don't really have anything super significant, but his losses to the distance are interesting enough for me, considering who they're against. Doubt many places could do that. But yeah, that's all I got on this one. I think I chose only one dog, maybe 2. Bark.
Taking it slow this week. Yeah, but thank you guys for tuning in. That is the UFC preview. We run these every week. Make sure to tune into our NFL and NBA content that we throw up here and there on our YouTube. More videos like that coming this week. And yeah, make sure to tail all of our plays on PredictionStrike, the stock market for sports.
If you haven't downloaded already, download, subscribe as well. And until next time, peace, y'all.
Peace.